Zandile Dabula, the leader of Operation Tutula, was embarrassed by an ENCA journalist yesterday when she was asked about frontline states and she failed to answer.
The first question that I have reserved is for you, Ms. Dabula. Let me just ask an open-ended question. If I said frontline states, what comes to mind and what can you say in relation to that?
So now this is about the people. We have this Freedom Charter where Operation Tutula is entrenching the Freedom Charter that says people shall govern. And, currently we don't have leaders. We are on autopilot. And that's where Operation Tutula comes in.
No, I'm asking about frontline states.
Frontline states. So, so this is about... are you now taking this together with the
If I say to you frontline states, from a historical perspective, what comes to mind as we have this conversation?
The frontline states, I would believe it's about, the people in power.
Let me help you. You obviously doesn't know what a frontline state is.
Come again?
She obviously doesn't know what a frontline state is, right?
They asked her what's her take or the take of Operation Tutula on frontline states. She failed to answer because she doesn't understand the term frontline state. And I think it's not wrong to say, I don't know what you're talking about when you say frontline state. Can you please elaborate further? And the journalist was going to do that. Then maybe she could have given an answer of substance, not whatever disgrace she gave yesterday. But let's talk about this. You must know what is a frontline state if you are revolutionary indeed. As much as Operation Tutula called itself a coming revolution, they should be able to know what's the history of the revolution and how was the revolution recognized from the beginning. How was the impact of the frontline states within the revolution? For me not to confuse a lot of people, let's start this video. Hello and welcome to Hot Politicking, aka Intellectual Digestion. My name is Letu. Here we try by all means to analyze politics in an intellectual level. So we digest politics on an intellectual level. So try by all means that your comprehension scale is very high and you're willing to listen to someone. And if you disagree, please disagree in a respectful manner, so that we can be able to engage you, not to block you. By the way, if you like whatever that we're doing here, please try to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, and share the video so that it can get to more people. Let's dive deep to the matter. What is a frontline state? Frontline states were pivotal alliance of the Southern African nations that played a crucial role in the continent struggle against colonialism, white minority rule, and apartheid during the mid-20th century. Formed as a loose coalition, rather a formal organization, the frontline state represented a collective front of solidarity, providing political, logistical, and moral support to liberation movements in the region. Their efforts were instrumental in decolonization of countries like Zimbabwe and Namibia, in pressuring South Africa towards the end of apartheid. Below, it's a comprehensive breakdown of the members of the frontline states. Their historical background is as follows. The concept frontline state emerged in the context of South Africa's turbulent decolonization era, particularly after the 1960s, when many African nations gained independence but faced ongoing threats from white-dominated regimes in South Africa, Rhodesia, now called Zimbabwe, and the Southwest Africa, now called Namibia. I want to say this thing. So after these African countries or these Southern African countries, they gained their own independence. South Africa, by then, it was still under the apartheid era. Rhodesia was still captured, and the Southwest Africa, Namibia, was still captured. They were giving threat to these African countries. So they saw a need to unite and sponsor or fund the liberation movement like the ANC, PAC, AZAPO in decolonization so that they can fasten the decolonization in those countries that keep on threatening them. And the countries that formed that alliance, it was Botswana, Lesotho, Tanzania, and Zambia. So they formed that alliance. So let's try to assist this liberation movement in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, and in Namibia, so that they deal with the regime that has captured those countries as fast as possible, because we keep getting threats and one day we might possibly be invaded once again. So they were trying to avoid invasion as much as they were doing that, and they helped us to gain our own independence. But soon after that, after all these countries gained their independence, they then joined, and then it became something else. By the time the frontline states was decolonized, it was having 7 members. It was Angola, Botswana, Lesotho, Mozambique, Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Now I'm going to talk about these frontline states and when they got their independence and their role in the frontline state organization. Even though this was an informal organization, but I'm just going to talk about their role in the frontline state. We're going to talk about Angola first, which got their independence in 1975. But irole yabo on the frontline state was to post-independent. It used to host ANC, PAC exiles, battled South African incursion, border war, and received Cuban troops. Then we have Botswana, which got independence in 1966. It provided safe passage for liberation fighters, hosted refugees despite economic ties to South Africa. So they were just providing a way. Ama fighters or Ama liberation movement, they will send their people and their people will pass through Botswana going to exile. Then we have Lesotho, which also gained independence in 1966. Nayo Lesotho is surrounded or it's within South Africa. It allowed ANC operation but faced raids. So as much as they were allowing the ANC operation to happen in Lesotho, they were facing raid. As you remember the 1982 Masore massacre, where they invaded them and all those kind of things. But well, it's a story that we're going to talk about in another day when we talk about African history. I will make a video of African history at some time. Then we talk about Mozambique that gained its independence in 1975. Irole frontline state was post-independent. They host or they even basis for ANC and Umkhonto weSizwe Party MK and George South African destabilization. So now they destabilize the apartheid government in South Africa. It used to fight with Mozambique a lot for hosting MK and ANC military bases. Then Zimbabwe gained its independence in 1980, joined post-independence. Robert Mugabe pushed for sanction key in the SADC formation for economic independence. But let's check the main objectives of the frontline states. It was political liberation. It was to coordinate diplomatic pressure to end white minority in South Africa, Rhodesia, and Namibia. This involved lobbying the Organization of African Unity, the UN, and the Western powers for sanction and recognition of liberation groups like the ANC in South Africa as the true liberation movement at that time. Then we talk about it also had logistical and military support. It offers Islam training camps and transit routes for exile for exiles of fighters. Thousands of South Africans received military training in Zambia and Tanzania, enabling operation like MK sabotage campaign. Number 3, it had an economic independence. It formulated a unified policy against South African economic dominance. In 1980, they established the Southern African Development Coordination Conference, SADC with double C, now SADC with 1C, to reduce the reliance on apartheid-era trade, transport, and labor migration via projects like shared railways and power grids. Number 4, it was regional stability, to promote non-aggression among members and mediate conflicts, though this was secondary to anti-apartheid efforts. So you can understand the contribution they had in the liberation of South Africa, even though Operation Dudula is fighting them today. But due to light outside, I'm not being able to record a lot of things. But let me just make a short presentation maybe about Zandile Tabula. Zandile Tabula is one person who tries to inflict violence in South Africa. Why am I saying she's trying to inflict violence? There was a time when South Africa was playing Zimbabwe for Bafana for World Cup qualifiers in Moses Mabhida recently. Zandile Tabula came. After she came back, she said, we're on a ticking bomb. South Africans are angry. They don't want Zimbabweans. You should see the behavior of Zimbabweans at the stadium and all those kind of things. I was like, this woman is crazy, man.
So, I thought I should just update you on this. Izolo was the 10th of October. As you know, that South African Human Rights Commission summoned us to court, and we went to court. And after court, we then decided with some patriots, let's go and support Bafana Bafana, because there was a soccer match between Zimbabwe and South Africa in Moses Mabhida Stadium. And we went, and I must say, I sat there and I observed the attitude of South Africans towards foreigners. Guys, we are sitting on a time-ticking bomb. Now, it even went to a point where South Africans were like, now, this was because of the attitude, the arrogance. Some Zimbabweans bad guys. And South Africans are like, not here. That was the attitude that I've observed is all. South Africans are hurtful. And, if government is not going to do anything about this immigration crisis we are facing as a country, we are on a time-ticking bomb. It's going to explode anytime soon. And I don't think government is ready for that. But I thought, let me just share my experiences. Since I was with the masses, a stadium, and I sat there and I observed. But yeah, that's what it is.
She's mad, honestly speaking. Like, how can you say something like that, Mara? You want to put your violence in sport. Like, what's wrong with Zandile Tabula? You want to inflict your violence in sports, guys. Sports. In sports, even if it's Chiefs and Pirates they're playing, the same behavior you see when Zimbabwe and South Africa was playing is the same behavior you're going to get. I'm talking about South African teams here that are South African by South African citizens. The same conduct is the same conduct you're going to get. For you to try to inflict violence in sport, that was really out of order, and she got public backlash.
Moses Mabhida Zimbabwe ba na attitude eo o bolela motete ngwanyana o bolela melomo ya hao ya o lekella eo a kenya go fora ntho e boneng eo ya iteng ke tsa stadium nna ka attend stadium re jaiva le Zimbabwe ma Nigeria ba botlhe ba go stadium a iteng yo tseo a ba re fa attitude batho ba attitude kwena Zimbabwe na attitude dingi na ba go o bolela maka man o bolela maka wena man sis Satane kwena umilumo olekel wa gafa wena go stadium na pro jaiva le Zimbabwe le Nigeria out whoever can tell batho ke di brother stana le sita smart na pro jaiva le bona go stadium and na ro stopa kwena and na ro tlisa xenophobia go stadium mo utlwa moloi kwena o tlohele go stadium ile masepa wa irang wa le di thepatso tsa mang le tsona tsa bontate ka mora wa hao sanya go seleka wena u lwena yourself u Zimbabwe eta wa rato ra o rate mara rena phatalo wena go stadium mo tla ka motete wena wa nyela yes o ba botse le banna bo tsamang le bona re meteta lena man le tla ka masepa fela mo ntho e boneng e go Durban o ne ira halo bone mmahao vela fa o thwa attitude maybe o bone mmahao you are mad afa ba thwa South African attitude maybe a na Zimbabwe le file South African attitude nka sala wa tsa video wa re bontsha hore ka nnete o irile ntho eo.
And even the formation of Operation Tudula as a political party, it got public backlash. So we must understand the people we claim that they are our leaders. Zandile Tabula doesn't qualify to be a leader in any ways. And they are using wrong statistics that is not even scientifically proven to make claims. Not even bold statement, but claims. No way, guys. And in them countries, they are fighting Africans. They are leaving the white people who are dominating the South African economy. They are fighting to be employees of those white people instead. Sis, man, let your Pan-Africanism rise in you. South Africa must not be an attacking area for African people. And we're not promoting South Africa. We're not saying South Africa must be a non-governed country whereby people will just flock to South Africa as much as they want. They must come in a legal way. But those that are here illegally, we don't have to persecute them. Standing in clinics doesn't take them back home. It doesn't take them back home. You can stand there in the clinics, cross the gates that they don't access them, but they're not going anywhere. They're still here. So it doesn't help you. Why do you act delicious? It's not helping you in any ways. You're just making the loudest noise for no good reason. Hi man. Hi man Zandile. Sis. Self-hate.
So my sister right here has successfully opened her own political party. Congratulations to her. And I know her supporters are very happy. But do you know who else is happy? The white people. Do you know why? They are watching us. When it come election day, we as in black people are going to be splitting our votes. EFF, ANC, PA, Action SA, Dudula. Meanwhile, they are going to be voting for just one political party. And do you know what does that mean? They are this close to ruling again. Because Palatina, our votes are going to be scattered. I need voting for the people that says foreigners must go, voting for the people that says, what are you guys doing? Nje. But Bona, they are just sticking to one. Meaning, Bala, Kukwaratu. Not even Kwaratu. They're by 5-2 for them to rule again. Just watch. They are just watching us.
Yes, my parents are from Zimbabwe, but I was born in South Africa, and that makes me a South African.
I think I told you many times before that she's Zimbabwean. She's got Zimbabwean kids. Many of you thought I was lying, but now it's confirmed. But what I want to tell you is this. We are one people, one Africa, and we must unite. And the reason why you're all rallying behind this woman is because of the Zimbabwean DNA that she has. We are known as the Mutapa Empire people. We are one of only 6 empires in Africa. We're a great people, and we can help.
So, but your operations seem to be targeting more black foreigners than white foreigners. How do you explain that?
It shouldn't be seen as if we're targeting our black brothers and sisters. Yes, they are the most problematic ones. They are the ones that are causing chaos. That's why it's easy to really catch them, because they are out there. They are just doing it recklessly. They no longer even care. But we do deal with the white ones as well. If you know, we've always said that if people know where we could find them, they must give us, because we rely on tip-off.